Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out from the Gaza Strip, and we're going to talk about Israel and Hamas and the current ceasefire that's been in effect. So, we haven't talked much about Israel and Hamas recently. As we know, this ceasefire deal has been in effect, and for the most part, it has been holding. We've been seeing Israel and Hamas both releasing prisoners on each other's side. And so far, it's been doing well, but it's been on shaky ground recently. And a new report just came out today. Hamas delays release of more hostages set for Saturday, February 15th. That would be this coming up Saturday. Hamas has said the next hostage release scheduled to take place in Gaza on Saturday will be postponed until further notice, accusing Israel of breaking the ceasefire deal. Okay, so allegedly Hamas is accusing Israel of breaching the ceasefire agreement in multiple areas. I'll talk about some of the reasons why Hamas is accusing Israel of this, and also now Israel coming out and accusing Hamas of violating the ceasefire agreement. As by this Saturday, they were supposed to be releasing more Israeli prisoners and hostages on their end. So just both sides right now blaming each other for breaking this deal. And I want to talk some more about this, as also recently we've been talking about Donald Trump, and he's been coming out talking a lot about, taking over the Gaza Strip, taking control of it, owning it is kind of what he's saying, and kind of developing it into some sort of resort or something like that. So they want to completely revamp the Gaza Strip, and also in a way kick out all the Palestinians and send them over to countries like Jordan, Egypt, or maybe other Arab nations. So I'm going to talk about that, as well as maybe that could be also a reason why we're seeing this ceasefire agreement potentially fall through the floor right now. And what's very dangerous is we could see a return to war here very soon. Now, I'm not saying that will happen, but there's lots of talk about that within the Israeli government, and they are preparing for this, but to potentially roll back into war. So let's go ahead and jump on over here to NPR just for a moment. I'm going to show you guys a few paragraphs from here talking about this event here, okay? Hamas delays next hostage release as it and Israel blame each other for breaking the deal. Okay, this just came out today, February 10th, 2025. Here's a picture of a few hostages that were released from the Hamas side as they returned to Israel recently. And it says here the militant group Hamas said Monday would postpone the release of the next group of Israeli hostages scheduled for this Saturday over accusations of Israeli violations of a ceasefire agreement imperiling the fragile truce between Israel and Hamas. Hamas's announcement comes as President Trump said in a Fox News interview posted online Monday that Palestinians would not be allowed to return to Gaza under his plan for the U.S. to take over Gaza and relocate the enclave's residents. Okay, so could that be a major reason why? I mean, Hamas heavily relies on the residents there to maintain their power. So, what would happen if all the Palestinians left Gaza? Where would Hamas go? They would have to leave, or they'd be left behind there. So, I think that could be a lot to do with this. We'll have to see here. But it does say it is the most serious challenge to the month-long ceasefire that has seen Israeli hostages exchanged for Palestinian prisoners and detainees. Abu Obaida, the military spokesman for Hamas Al-Qassam brigades, accused Israel of violating the terms of the deal and said the next release of hostages would be postponed until Israel adheres to the agreement. He said Israel is delaying the return of the displaced to the northern Gaza Strip, targeting them with shelling and gunfire in various areas of the Strip, and not allowing relief supplies of all kinds to enter as agreed upon. Okay, so you can see here a large reason why they're claiming that Israel is violating the ceasefire agreement. I'll also go into more detail on X in terms of some of the things that they're claiming Israel is violating the ceasefire with, okay? It also says here Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said the Hamas announcement is a complete violation of the ceasefire agreement and the hostage release deal, and ordered the military to prepare at the highest level of readiness for any possible scenario in Gaza and to ensure the protection of Israeli communities. In response to the Hamas announcement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with the country's security chiefs and called a Tuesday morning meeting with his cabinet, according to an Israeli official with knowledge of the subject who was not authorized to speak publicly. Okay, so there is more information here regarding hostage releases and how many people are being released on the Hamas side in terms of Israeli hostages. So if you guys want to read some more of that, I will cite it down below for you in the description of this video. But now we're going to hop on over to X and let me show you some independent sources over here with some information regarding the story. So let's jump on over to Suppressed News. Breaking, the government media office in Gaza published a summary of Israel's violations of the humanitarian clauses of the ceasefire agreement. 12,000 aid trucks should have entered the Gaza Strip by now. Only 8,500 have entered. The Zionist entity has fallen short of its end of the agreement by 3,500 trucks. 50 fuel trucks were supposed to enter the Gaza Strip daily. Only 15 have entered daily. The Zionist entity has violated the ceasefire to the tune of 35 fuel trucks every day. 60,000 temporary mobile housing units were supposed to enter the Gaza Strip. Not a single unit has entered, preventing hundreds of thousands of Gazans from obtaining temporary shelter. 200,000 tents were supposed to enter the Gaza Strip. Only 20,000 have entered. The Zionist entity has failed to implement the ceasefire agreement, as 180,000 more tents are supposed to enter the Strip. Okay, so you can kind of see, if this information happens to be true, of course, why Hamas would be accusing Israel of violating this agreement. If they're saying, hey, we're going to be sending over, fuel trucks and aid and temporary housing, shelter, whatever it might be, tents, things like that, and they're not agreeing to sending that, then okay, then that would obviously be a violation of the ceasefire agreement. And this is supposedly why Hamas is claiming they're not going to be releasing these hostages. But I just want to note again, what Donald Trump's been coming out saying a lot recently, that he wants to take over the Gaza Strip, remove all the Palestinians. He seems to be very serious about it, and today he apparently doubled down on that. So that's what this post is going to go over right here from Vivid. Trump, I will hold the Gaza Strip. Think of it as a real estate deal. With future development, it will be a beautiful place on earth. The interviewer asked him, will Palestinians have the right to return? Trump said, no, they won't have it. Okay, so as you can see here, Trump clearly saying that the Palestinians will not be able to remain in the Gaza Strip. So you can see how that would be a threat to Hamas. So is that the reason why Hamas is coming out and changing their tone here? Maybe they're just claiming that Israel is not, delivering all this aid to the Gaza Strip is kind of like a cover, but really this has to do about Trump. I don't really know for sure, but I'm just kind of throwing that in there, as that could be a major reason why as well. So I think it could be highly likely very soon that maybe we're seeing a return to war here between Israel and Hamas again. I think that could be the case. Hopefully not, but it could be happening here very soon. So it makes you wonder as well if maybe Trump was doing this on purpose, because then you might ask the question, why would he do this at a time right now where the ceasefire is very fragile? This deal could just unfold at any moment, and then maybe it's all over with. Then the return to fighting resumes. So why would Trump do this right now? Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason for that in the background. Maybe there's a reason why they want this war to continue. So pretty crazy. Now from Times of Israel alerts, mediators fear breakdown of the Gaza hostage ceasefire agreement, according to Egyptian security sources. Okay, so you can see Times of Israel reporting this today, that the mediators between this ceasefire deal are worried about a breakdown of this ceasefire agreement. So it looks highly likely we could potentially see that happening here very soon, but we'll wait for further confirmation. Also from Megatron Ron, breaking, Hamas informed the brokers that the American guarantee of the ceasefire was no longer in light of the Trump plan to displace the inhabitants of Gaza. All right, so this statement kind of reads to me that maybe Hamas is kind of accusing Donald Trump of getting involved in this ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, with these new statements coming out that obviously the U.S. has a lot to do with the guarantees, security guarantees for Hamas, as they've been also mediating this deal as well. So this is Abu Obaida, the spokesman for Hamas. You guys may have seen pictures of him before. And yeah, again, Trump just coming out so much talking about Gaza and wanting to take it over, that maybe did Trump do this on purpose, or is this something with just him speaking when he shouldn't be speaking and wanting to take over the Gaza Strip and ultimately destroying the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas? Who really knows here? But another statement coming out today in regards to Hamas, okay? Now from Suppressed News, breaking, initial reports of drones launched by Israel over Gaza's airspace at a clear breach of the ceasefire agreement. Okay, this was a new report also coming out. Apparently, Israel launching drones over the Gaza Strip, most likely reconnaissance drones, I'm thinking, as we didn't hear of any like explosions over there or anything, if these were like attack drones. So maybe Israel starting to monitor the Gaza Strip, as maybe they're worried that it's going to be returned to fighting here very soon, and we could see this war open back up between the two again. But also, this is more aggressive actions by Israel now that could potentially push this ceasefire over the edge, and maybe soon we will see that it will be ending, okay? Also from Times of Israel alerts, Ben-Gvir urges massive assault on Gaza after Hamas postpones hostage release. We must return to war. Okay, so even Even Ben Gvir coming out from the Israeli government and claiming that they should launch a massive assault onto Gaza, that the ceasefire deal should be over with. But we've heard Ben Gvir talk a lot like this a lot in the past. He does speak very aggressively like this and calls for war a lot. Some people would even probably call him a warmonger. But for the most part, it does seem like the Israeli government is on high alert right now and preparing for any possible scenarios here. All right, now from Aviva Klampas, Israelis are going onto the streets in grief and rage after Hamas announced they will delay releasing more hostages. Okay, so more protests starting to break out inside of Israel once again as the hostage deal appears to be falling apart right now, and we're not going to be seeing these hostages being released by the end of the week on Saturday. We don't know at this time how long until Hamas will potentially lift this seizing of the release of hostages. Maybe they'll lift that sometime next week. Who knows? But they're waiting for Israel to respond to their demands now as they're accusing them of violating the ceasefire. Now, from Ella Travels, this is how people who were released from Hamas concentration camp look like. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this also, and I'm not sure if this has something to do with this as well, but we've been seeing some of the prisoners that were being held from Hamas, the Israelis here, whenever they were released, they look like they were malnourished and being starved in many cases. You can kind of see the before and after pictures here. They're very skinny, especially this man right here. You can see he's completely looks like he's aged, probably like 10 years or something like that. He was only there for what, roughly about a little over a year or so. And you can see they're very skinny, okay, and malnourished. So, are we going to see more of these prisoners that to be released by Hamas starting to look like this? I think that will be the case as well. And who knows? Maybe Hamas doesn't have a lot of these hostages alive anymore, and maybe that's also why they're delaying this. That could be a possibility as well, because there's been a lot of talk about that. That potentially a lot of the Israeli hostages are not even alive anymore. So very, very bad situation over here, guys. Just want to give you an update and let you know what is happening. And we could potentially see this ceasefire deal fall apart, and a return to fighting could be resuming here very soon between Israel and Hamas. But I'll keep a close eye on this, and if we get more information, I will let you guys know. But expect things to get pretty wild and crazy over here if this war starts to break out again, as it looks highly likely at this time. So let me know what you think about this down below. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.